Hi, I'm Diana Rankin, a psychic medium. Many of my clients, and certainly people I meet when I'm out speaking, ask me one question. Who is my spirit guide and how do I contact that being? Well, I put together this video to help you find the answer to that. 5 simple steps, and we'll get to them in just a moment. I want to first of all tell you my spirit guide is Philip, and he's got a great sense of humor. Many of you also have worked with Philip, and some of you may know him through my other videos, or some of you may have the book that he gave to me. It's the Master's Book of Answers by Philip, and this is a book, it's an oracle book. Each page has a different answer on it. So you can pick this book up through my website or at Amazon.com, and at Amazon you can even take a look inside. The way I met Philip was many, many years ago, and I was trying to figure out who is my spirit guide when I heard, look in your name book. Well, as a writer and one also of fiction as well as nonfiction, I kept a name book around. And what the name book did was give me different names and what the names meant. So I thought, all right, I'm going to look in my name book, but under what letter? And I heard P. Okay, I'm going to look under P. Well, all right, there are several names under P. And then I heard the second one down. Well, Philip really made me work pretty hard at that. And I learned he has a great sense of humor, and he's been using it on me ever since. But Philip is my spirit guide. He's also what I call the communicator. And so when you ask for your spirit guide or to meet your spirit guide, I want you to specifically ask for the communicator. What does that mean? Well, many, many beings want to help us. There are several beings all over spirit world, loved ones who have passed over, who are willing to help us. We all have teachers, and we have guides, and we have angels all around us. So we need someone who can communicate with us, who can speak our language, because what good is it to have a spirit guide who just sits there and stares at us? We need a spirit guide who's able to look at us and say, here's what you need to do, or here's the information you need. So I always say, simply start with the intent. That's number one, your intent. What is your intent? Well, your intent is to meet your spirit guide, that being will guide you to a greater life and to allow you to help others as well. So simply ask. And when you ask, we want you to ask for the communicator. Think about what it's like when you're in a room full of people and everybody in that room wants to help you. You get a lot of mixed messages. And when I see someone who's working with a lot of different guides, it's kind of like if there's nobody in charge here. So remember, you're the conductor. You're the head of the orchestra. And you have to help all of these wonderful beings work together. So you be the head of the orchestra and you bring forth the first violinist. That's your communicator. The easiest way to meet your communicator, I find, is to actually journal. Once you've set your intent and you've asked, then get out a blank book. Now, in the workshop that I have for the public, it's called Awakening to Your Deeper Intuition. And I always tell people, your spirit guide's going to wake you up this morning about 4 a.m., right around that time. And it never fails. Now, I had one participant in the workshop who had, after the Friday night session, she had worked all day Friday, and after the Friday night session, she went back to the hotel room, and she started doing other work that she had brought with her that weekend. And so she said it was 2 o'clock before I finally got to go to sleep. She said, there's no way I'm going to wake at 4 o'clock because I'm already tired. Well, sure enough, 4 o'clock, along came her spirit guide saying, wake up, I'm here. You want to meet me? Here's your chance. Okay, so expect that 4 a.m. meeting from your spirit guide when you really set the intent that you want to meet and you ask to meet. The next thing I want you to do is once you meet, I want you to set up tests. How do you know this is your spirit guide? How do you know this is the right being to help you? Well, I'm going to use another example from one of my workshops. This is a story of a woman who wanted to doubt, and there's some doubt. It's good. I never tell you to always accept things on face value. But she was really doubting. And she said, how am I going to know? And I said, well, set up test. Simple. Set up test. Well, what kind of test? Well, 3 times that weekend, I told her to stop for gasoline before she got home. And 3 times she told me she didn't need gasoline. Finally, when I started to tell her again, she went, oh, I get it. I might meet the name of my spirit guide at the gas station. Or I might confirm, excuse me, she'd already met the spirit guide, but she hadn't yet confirmed that that was who it really was. And so she thought, all right, So her guide had come through at 4 in the morning and said, my name is Henri, but you will know me as Henry. Then I told her about don't forget to stop for gas. So on the way home, she decided she would not stop anywhere around my house where we were holding the workshop on my sacred land, because she knew for sure that somewhere around my house I knew every gas station attendant. Right. So she drove about an hour and a half back to where she lived, and she stopped at the gas station where she did know all the attendants, and she knew nobody there was named Henry. Well, lo and behold, she's pumping gas, and a man drove in behind her, and he got out of his car, and she started laughing. Well, he looked at her, and she said, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, but your name's Henry, isn't it? And he said, yeah. How'd you know? Set those tests up when you want to check, is this my guide? Is this my guide's name? Whatever test you want to set up. But make it something that you'll stop for the gas, that you'll hear if somebody tells you this is how you're going to get your proof. Make sure you do take that into consideration. Once you meet your guide, you want to set up tests. And after you've set up the test, you want to start building that relationship. So we have your intent and ask to meet the communicator. We have journaling and ask and answer questions. Simple as that. And by the way, when you journal, it usually takes 3 to 5 pages to where you're finally getting to the truth. You're finally getting past the monkey mind into that deeper consciousness where you can communicate with the spirit guide. So I don't care if you just write, this is silly, I'm tired, over and over and over, until you get into the deeper mind and then start asking and answering your questions. I also highly recommend, after a few weeks of journaling, you go back and reread it. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about sentence structure. Listen to your deeper wisdom, because you're wise beyond what you can imagine. So now we've set up the test, we've journaled, we've done everything. Now we need to build a relationship. Well, how do you build a relationship with a spirit guide? That's pretty simple too. How do you build a relationship with anyone? You spend time together. You ask each other questions. You provide each other with those answers. And very simply, open your heart. You may see a sunset that just knocks your socks off. Invite your spirit guide. I always invite Philip, look at that sunset. Isn't it beautiful? Because our guides can see through our eyes. They can taste something scrumptious through our taste buds. Build a relationship with your guides. The last thing, and this is the most important, and it's also the most difficult, be patient. Always be patient. Learning to work with your guide, again, is building a relationship. It's as you learn to work with anyone. It takes patience, it takes time, it takes practice. I do want to give you one last thought here. If at any time your so-called guide tells you to harm yourself or any other, that is not your spirit guide. Your spirit guide always, always, always comes from love. So if you're hearing a voice that is not coming from love and it's telling you to hurt yourself or someone else, that's a whole different problem. You must get help for that. But for those of you who are hearing how to develop your life with greater love, how to help the world with greater love, that's coming from your spirit guide. I hope these 5 guidelines or these 5 tips have helped you out. These steps to contact your very private communicator spirit guide. So from Philip and me, Diana Rankin, I thank you. I thank you for being with us. I thank you for helping to make your life and the world a much better place. Enjoy the day.